Hello and welcome to Bounding Into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding Into Comics. Today I got a story about Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige providing more details about why Doctor Strange was cut from WandaVision. Before we get to the meat of that story, I'd like to ask if you could please hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. If you are already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed. And then hopefully by the end of this video, I will have earned your like, and you will give us a like, and you will share this video with your friends and family. With that out of the way, let's get to the meat of this story. As I said, Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige recently provided more details as to why Doctor Strange was cut from WandaVision. If you remember, Feige confirmed Strange was cut because he was white and would help Wanda with her newfound powers. He made those claims as part of a Rolling Stone article back in May. As it was reported then, Feige said, some people might say, oh, it would have been so cool to see Doctor Strange, but it would have taken away from Wanda. We didn't want the end of the show to be commoditized to go to the next movie. Here's the white guy. Let me show you how power works. Now, Rolling Stone has published more of their interview with Kevin Feige and other members of the WandaVision production team, where he and the show's head writer Jack Schaefer provided more details on why Strange was cut and what exactly they had planned for him. So, I do want to point out that that quote was a little bit misquoted. Here's what the printed quote is on Rolling Stone's web version of the article. It says, quote, some people might say it would have been so cool to see Doctor Strange, but it would have taken away from Wanda, which is what we didn't want to do. We didn't want the end of the show to be commoditized to go to the next movie, or here's the white guy, let me show you how power works. That wasn't what we wanted to say. End quote. So there's a little bit more to that. He goes on a little bit more, but we'll get to that later on in this video, but it's pretty much the same. So, as for Doctor Strange showing up in the show, it was revealed that he would be in one of the in-universe commercials by head writer Jack Schaefer. She said, there was a version of the commercials where it was Doctor Strange trying to reach out to her, that he was actually behind the commercials, and we moved off of that idea. Feige then elaborated on this idea, said, I haven't talked about this before, but we had a deal with Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Doctor Strange, to pop up at the end of WandaVision or somewhere in WandaVision, because we knew we wanted to connect them. Wanda's next appearance is in the second Doctor Strange movie. Next year's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's an editor's note from Rolling Stone. But Feige goes on to say, and wouldn't it be great? But as we worked on the show and on the movie, we realized there was no reason to really do that. Well, interestingly enough, Feige himself gave the reason for connecting the show and the movie during an appearance hyping Marvel's Disney Plus shows at Brazil CCXP 2019. This was before they had actually announced these shows. He said, after Endgame, thinking, what can we do next? Disney Plus is going to give us the opportunity to tell even deeper stories with characters you already know and love in a new type of cinematic way that we haven't done before. We've already started shooting 2 of them, and they're very, very special. And it all, for the first time, will interlink, so the MCU will be on your TV screen at home on Disney Plus and interconnect with the movies and go back and forth. It's exciting to expand the MCU into even bigger and better heights. So that's pretty clear on why you might want to have Doctor Strange in WandaVision, so you can connect WandaVision to Doctor Strange. As it stands now, WandaVision is kind of its own thing. I feel like if you never even saw it, you probably wouldn't be missing out on anything if you just jumped to the movies. And that seems to be the opposite of what Feige had in mind when he was talking about them interlinking. So I wonder if they threw that idea away as well. One has to wonder what Disney thinks about that. As for what one of their ideas for a Doctor Strange commercial was, Schaefer provided some details. She said, one of my favorite ideas was that in the Nexus commercial, which was in episode 7, it would kind of be a blink and you miss it cameo, a quick image of Doctor Strange as the pharmacist in the background. I was very inspired by Fight Club when Brad Pitt's character is on the TV in the hotel. Like, if you're looking closely, you'd see it for just a second. We were like, the Nexus commercial is her subconscious. What if Strange is in the background and trying to reach her? but ultimately we decided in favor of Wanda's own story. So we'll get back to this because this explanation doesn't really hold any water given what Schaefer says later on. So we will circle back to that. But later on in the interview, Schaefer provided more details on what Strange's role in the show was supposed to be. She said, "The plan when I came on board was that there would, at the end of the series, be a handoff and that Doctor Strange's participation would amount to essentially a short cameo." So early outlines had varying versions of the two of them, Wanda and Doctor Strange, kind of riding off into the sunset together, and it didn't feel quite right. We wanted to fulfill Wanda's agency and autonomy within this particular story, so it did feel a little tacked on. She then added another problem was if Doctor Strange shows up at just the end, where was he this whole time? I did love writing variations of Doctor Strange, variations on those final beats. It was a pleasure to write for him. There were versions where she was flying past the city limits and then encountered Doctor Strange, that kind of thing. Well, she already answered if he's showing up at the end, where was he the whole time? I mean, she already answered that where he's trying to contact her through the commercials. That's where he was. He was trying to contact her. So that's a weird answer. Since they nixed Doctor Strange from WandaVision, Feige explained they had to do a rewrite for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And so this is where I was talking about earlier, where he provided some more details after that original quote that was published back in May, where he said that Doctor Strange was basically axed because he's a white guy and he would show Wanda how to wield her power. So he went on to explain that they had to rewrite how they met for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Feige said, "So that meant we had to reconceive how they meet in that movie. And now we have a better ending on WandaVision than we initially thought of, and a better storyline in Doctor Strange. And that's usually how it works, which is to lay the chess pieces the way you want them to go in a general fashion, but always be willing and open to shifting them around to better serve each individual one." So, like I said, we were going to circle back to that one point. Well, this is where we're circling back to it. Interestingly enough, while they nixed the Doctor Strange cameo from the commercial, as well as how he and Scarlet Witch would meet, they did keep the Claymation ad from episode 6, despite it not being tied to Wanda's consciousness. Remember, Schaefer said they nixed it because they wanted the story, they nixed Doctor Strange because they wanted the story to be more focused on Wanda, and it would serve the story of Wanda. Well, now she's saying they decided to keep this Claymation ad despite it not really serving the story. This is what she said. "Kevin loved it so much, and we changed it in a draft, and he was like, no, go back to the version where the kid withers on the beach. So the idea of having a Claymation one was just so exciting and so right for the era. It didn't change when we moved away from the Doctor Strange idea, so it feels like an outlier, I think." Yeah, well, so she's admitting that their whole idea of the commercials being being tied to Wanda's consciousness is thrown out the window by the inclusion of the Claymation ad in episode 6. So they nixed Doctor Strange because they wanted it to be focused on Wanda, and then they decided to keep this Claymation ad because it was cool, even though it actually serves as an outlier to what they were trying to do with the commercials and having them tied to Wanda's consciousness. So it really seems like it's quite chaos over there. They didn't really know what they were doing, and they seemed like they were just kind of throwing things together. And a lot of it seems like it was just Kevin Feige saying what he wanted, and what he wanted is how it happened. But what do you make of this information from Kevin Feige and Jack Schaefer? Do you think they made the right decision by axing Doctor Strange? Should they have made the show more interlinked to the MCU films like Feige previously promised? And does any of this really matter at all? Because do you even care about WandaVision? Let me know in the comments below. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounty in the Comics.